How y'all doing this evening? Welcome back to another episode of the Don's Favorite here on Forever I Love Atlanta Sports Podcast. It's your boy, the Don. Here with my co-host, Tyrone. What's good, man?
Hey man, chilling. Hawks are losing bad right now, so
Who
not
we
in the
playing
best
right
to
now?
lose. Indiana, they just got beat by the Kings by 30 last night.
Oh, man. Why are we losing to teams we ain't got no business losing to? See, that stuff be making me
We too
mad.
hyped. It's a back to back, and we just too excited. I think we didn't wake up today, and we had to
Yeah.
travel last night. I don't
Those
know, man.
back-to-back games do put a toll on you, though.
I don't know, man. It's something about Atlanta, especially during back to backs.
Yeah. Anyway, man. Hopefully I don't know. We'll see what happens, man. But I don't know if they're gonna pull off this. I just looked at the score. I'm like, all right, but hey, we got a special guest on right now, Gerald. Let everybody know who you are, where they can find you.
Absolutely, yeah. Thank you guys for having me. My name is Gerald Goodridge. I'm a podcaster and a blogger over at Burn Orange Nation. So we cover the Texas Longhorns for SB Nation, and I am. You can find me on Twitter at GHGoodridge, or you can follow my show, where that's if you're looking for Texas sports, at Longhorn Pod.
All right, thanks for coming on, man. We really appreciate
Absolutely.
it. All right, if you're new to the channel, y'all already know what to do. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, check this content out of Atlanta Sports Fanatics, and hit us up in the comment section. As always, come out at your hometown sports podcast. All right, give us a good detailed synopsis of Quon Graham.
Yeah, so TQ is what they called him. So if you want to just chop it down, TQ as all his teammates called him. But he was in a weird spot. He got recruited. He was recruited to Texas by Charlie Strong, who is the head coach until 2016, and he was fired. So he was recruited to Charlie Strong, committed to Charlie Strong, and then signed with Tom Herman. And so he was in a weird situation where he got recruited to play one scheme, switched to another for 2 years, and his final year switched to his third defensive scheme. So he's a guy who doesn't pop a lot on the stat sheet, but I think the thing you like about Quon Graham is that he is a guy who's going to give you good fundamental reps. He's not going to be out of position. He's not going to do anything stupid to try to make a big play. He's going to be there when the running back tries to cut it back. He's going to be there when the quarterback tries to roll out backside. Those types of things that you like.
So he's good at he's good at sending the edge. So I looked at the tape, and I know he played played a lot of three tech at Texas, but I can see him as being a strong side defensive end, just a developmental, just to see what he can do. I don't know if I'm right or wrong on that.
Yeah, so he was recruited as a defensive end, and he's got the skill, he's got the range. He was kind of a tweener when he came into college, 6'3", 260 kind of guy. So he played a little bit of five technique when Texas was playing a 3-3-5, and then he shifted down to a three technique when Texas switched to a four-man front. And so he's got the ability to play more on the outside. He'll probably likely end up at that like shaded three kind of situation, or a five technique playing between the guards and tackles. But he's definitely somebody who can keep seams from creating in a defensive front, which is something that we appreciate.
So for him, do you see him ever? I've said it, and we talked about it. I see him as a weak side, and especially in NFL because of his size and his weight. So, do you think he'll probably play more weak side at this level, or do you think he can go back to playing strong side?
I think weak side is where he's going to make a living if he does. I think he's that's the skill set that I think he brings to the table. He's not a guy who you're going to see ever let his outside arm get trapped. He's not a guy who's ever going to really unnecessarily try to play the ball rather than play his spot. He'll scrape along the line he does all the little things that coaches really like to see from a weak side guy. He'll get some penetration, scrape along back toward the ball while also maintaining good arm discipline and good hand discipline. Again, in the schemes he's played in, that the big knock on him is he doesn't have big numbers, doesn't have a ton of flashy things that he's done, but in the schemes that he was asked to play in, that wasn't his job. Right, his job was to stop big plays from happening on the back end and really play good fundamentals and flush guys out to your ends and your linebackers. And I think that's a skill set that coaches like. And the thing about TQ that I think a lot of the reason why he probably fell as far as he did is Texas has struggled to develop guys along the defensive front outside of a couple guys in the last several years. You got Poona Ford, who ended up in Seattle. You got Charles Omenihu in Houston. But outside of that, there aren't a ton of big developmental leaps. He was a top 200 kid coming out of high school and didn't really see much build off of that because of, I think, again, a lack of development and a lack of investment from being able to play in the same defensive front for all 4 years.
Okay. All right. So it's weird because right now with the Falcons defense, we have some 3-tech guys here, but we only have one tech guy, and I don't really see him as a 1-tech nose tackle type of guy. I'm asking this question, I already know the answer to it, but I'm just asking this for the listeners that's watching right now and listening. Do you see him getting any reps at 1-tech nose tackle?
I wouldn't see it. I don't think so. I think the weight that he would have to put on to play, at a nose or at a 1-tech would very likely rob him of any lateral quickness he has, because he would need to put on 30 pounds or so, and it's very, very rare you see a guy that can keep moving when they add 30 pounds. Again, he's an athlete and he's a guy who'll play what they ask him to, but I don't necessarily see him playing at a 1 technique. I don't.
Okay. Yeah, I trust me, I knew the answer to that, and I was like, no, like he's too small. Now, what I like about him, the tape I saw, is he has a high football IQ. He's not the most athletic guy, but he has great awareness of what the little. He take care of the little things. So, tell me about his football IQ.
Yeah, he's like I said, he's one of those guys who understands the game, knows the game. I hate like the metaphors that they use, but he's one of those coach on the field kind of guys where he's going to be in the right spots. He's going to put other guys in right spots. He was voted a team captain his last year at Texas. So he's one of those guys he's a locker room guy. He's a guy that other players like and respect. And he's earned that reputation by giving you 100% every day when he's on the field and really, again, doing the little things, doing the right things, going to every rep and doing exactly what he needs to do his job. And so I think you're absolutely right. He's a very smart guy, loves the game of football, really came in and when they talked during the offseason heading into this, he was a guy who everybody was buzzing about. TQ is a guy we all love. TQ is a guy who really creates the tone and the culture for the team. And that's, when you get to the NFL level, locker room guys are important and guys who can really not sabotage a culture. And he's not going to be a guy to do that. So I think that on top of his football IQ is definitely something to like about him.
And that's the problem with the Falcons for the past few years. Our locker room was just, I ain't gonna say it was prisoners was running an asylum or anything like that. They just didn't have a vocal guy because the defense was so young. But the offense, you had these established players like Matt Ryan, Julio Jones, Alex Mack. He's not here anymore. But you had those 10-year plus veterans on that side of the ball. But the thing is like they weren't that vocal enough to just put a whole team to rally up around. And that's the thing. We need leaders, like natural born leaders. Because you can tell somebody you're a captain, but do they really have leadership capabilities?
Yeah.
Go ahead. You can go ahead.
I was saying, and I think that's absolutely right. And he's a guy who, again, the way Texas handled its captains, they were voted on by their peers and by the other players on the team, and so. He's a guy who, again, the guys around him respect, and that's something that I think it's not something you can teach.
All right. Thank you for joining us, Westcott. Let everybody know where they can find you.
Yeah, Westcott Everett's Burn Orange Nation is the website, and then SBN_WESCOTT on Twitter.
All right. My bad, man. I was before I hopped on the show, I was in that dinner with my family and everything, so I was just trying to he heard me, and I came over here. I saw him, man. I'm like, okay, let's go ahead and do the show. So, and I looked at my Twitter. I'm like, oh, yeah, you good. So, good thing you didn't turn into a zombie for the COVID shot.
Not yet, anyway. Give it some time. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I got to go get my second shot in a couple of weeks. So, I'm not, not happy about that. First shot was alright. It's shot. I don't know. So, all right. Give us your take on Quon Graham.
Yeah, well, I think Gerald was just talking about his character a little bit. He was one of 17 captains for Texas. He was a guy who was really respected by his teammate. And I think anytime you start talking about guys who kind of come in the 6th or 7th round, teams are taking those guys because they have confidence that they're high character players. I think guys who don't, if they're a little bit borderline, those are players who end up falling out of the draft. One thing about TQ, I think, is that he seems like one of those guys who, has some upside in his professional career. He ended up moving around a little bit. He played kind of the 4-eye outside of defensive end under Todd Orlando when Texas played an odd front. I was looking at the Falcons. They were talking about being multiple, so it looks like he may have a chance at kind of out at the 4-eye and then sliding in to the 3 technique. His production was actually a little bit better per game outside, but he's not really a guy who's going to provide, a lot of pass rushing. He is a pretty solid athlete. He's pretty strong, but, adding some pass rushing moves, I think, is something that is going to be important for him because, otherwise he's a guy who's really going to have to make his living just stopping the run.
Yeah. This is what I was thinking. All right. This can be like a set, like a either 3. Well, this would be my 3-4 set. I have a guy like, I'm gonna say 4-3. Let's do 4-3. I have Grady Jarrett on the outside, and then in 3 tech I had Quon. Then you have Tyler Davidson at that 1, and then on the other side, I put either Kaminsky or Marlon Davidson. I think that'd be a good lineup right there.
That's a strong lineup.
Yeah. What you think about that, Tyrone?
That's a very strong lineup. That's a scary lineup. I mean, you got Tyler, and Tyler. I mean, I don't know if I want to put Tyler on the other end.
He's one tech, man. You got to have him at 1.
You gonna have him there. So yeah, that actually work. You think? I think we still need speed though. I think Grady Jarrett on the edge is disgusting. We've never seen him at DN, and I think he'll probably dog a tackle out, even though he's smaller. And we already know what Marlon can do because we watched him at Auburn, and he's meant to play in. But Taquan at a 3 technique, that means you have Grady at the 7. You're gonna put Grady at a 7 on the outside. And then Tyler Davidson's gonna definitely have to play the 1. And
you have a better chance. Grady Jarrett has a better chance of being 1-on-1 on the outside. If you leave him at 3 tech, the offensive line, they're gonna scheme a way to block the double.
Yeah, they double team him. So I have a question for both of y'all. So did Taquan get doubled a lot, and how did he do versus double teams? Did he hold his own, or was he more of like did he get pushed a lot, or was he like did he stand his ground a lot?
Go ahead, Jordan.
Yeah, so he didn't draw a ton of doubles. He had the advantage of guys like Joseph Osai and Keandre Coburn on the defense with him that really ate up a lot of blocks. But he has the ability to fight. He like Westcott said, he's a strong guy. He's got a good upper body and a good base. So he's a guy who can deal with a double team and fight off blocks if he needs to. But he had the advantage of a couple of other higher value targets along the defensive front that ate significantly more blocks than he did.
Yeah, well, Keandre Coburn, who he played next to last year, is about 6'1" and 350 pounds with good quickness for that size. So, I mean, it's just a massive guy next to him. And, really, as I was kind of mentioning, when he was playing outside as a 4 technique, he really had his most success when he was playing heads up on offensive tackles rather than kind of playing half a man and trying to shoot into gaps.
Okay. Well, that's information we need to know. I know we did a press conference yesterday. That was pretty much saying that he'll pretty much have some time at edge, but I won't be shocked that they have him, playing 3 tech as well. 1 tech, I don't want him playing. So
But
he's not a space eater. So
yeah, I think, one thing with TQ is that I think, at Pro Day, he was about 290 or so pounds. I think he's a guy that it might make sense for him to lean up a little bit. If he could get down to 275, then, you might see him be able to show a little bit more quickness. And then if he was playing, at 3 technique and you want to try to use him to shoot some gaps, then, he might be a little bit more effective there than he was in college, since he played, kind of between 290 and about 300 pounds over the last couple of years.
see, we got a couple of guys like that on our team right now, Marlon Davidson and John Kaminsky. Like Kaminsky was really a quarterback, but they transferred him. He ate a lot and bulked up, and he became an end. And he's like 290. Marlon Davidson, he played at Auburn, and he was an outside guy, but then they try to move him inside. And I feel like just leave him outside. I want to have him at 3 tech. The tape I saw out of him, he better playing outside.
He's an outside player. He's so big, but you would think he doesn't want to play outside. You think he'd play inside, but he's fast. He's quick. You don't move. Kaminsky, of course, like you said, he's just bulked up, and he just got to play DN. But really and truly, you don't move Marlon Davis. All his best plays was him at
outside.
end. You had to have him on the edge. And so if TQ comes in here, I had a theory, like you said, he goes down. I said he might go up if we're gonna make him go up in weight. If we gonna make him more of an inside player, I said he'd try to have to gain weight, but I could see him going down like 275, and just being fast, being a quick D tackle, which will work. I mean, we don't have a lot of those. We don't. We were trying to get those. I'll say that we tried that experiment with Dan Quinn, and that I think it's all about our D-line coach. And I just want to see you have to have pass rush for him. I think that's the only thing that's really that I saw on tape that wasn't his strong suit was his pass rush.
And you got to say, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, that's kind of been the knock on TQ. I would say one thing about him, he was an end in high school when he was about 250, 260 pounds. So he does have experience out there, but, I think he's kind of way past that point at, 290 plus pounds now.
And like I said, he's competing with guys like Kaminsky, Marlon Davidson, Idris Sanat still on the team right now. So he has a lot of competition to try to beat out, in my opinion. Do y'all think he'll make the team, practice squad?
Joe, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. I think he's like I said, I think he's a guy who coaches are going to like what he brings to the table as far as work ethic, character, those types of things. And so he's a guy that you want to keep around. So I think if he's not on the 52 man, I think he's a guy that he's like that instant re-sign to the practice squad to keep him around, keep him in the locker room, keep him in the system. Because I also think he's a guy, and I mentioned this before, who still probably has some developing to do and some technique to build. So if he can get some good coaching, he's a guy who I think they want to have around and keep in the system.
Okay. All right, I agree. Like I said, he has a high football IQ, and then he was a captain for the Longhorns defense. Like you gotta find a place for him somehow, some way. So
that's what I like about what Terry did this draft. There's a lot of captains on his team, college captains that we drafted onto this team. Mind you, Drew Dahlman was a captain, and TQ was. I think Ogundeji was. So a lot of guys we drafted in these later rounds are all team captains. So I think a lot of them have a lot of talent, and you can see it in TQ. He has talent. I think it's just going to take, like we said, coaching is just. I think it's going to was going to make him better. I like him. I like him, and I like Ogundeji. I like the 2 pickups. So whatever we do between those two, I'm not going to be mad because they're both solid D linemen. So I really don't matter. I'm really not gonna be mad if one goes to the practice squad and one plays or one doesn't. I think TQ makes the roster off of like you said, Gerald, like it's off of his being a good character guy and his work ethic, what he does as a player, because that's really kind of sort of what our coach and GM we're talking about on that end of the night press conference. It was the end of the day because it was day 3. So end of the day press conference, they were just saying we like the guys we got because of their character. Even Kyle Pitts was like character guy. We saw his talent, but it was still more of his character. So I think that's really kind of sort of cool to like to have those guys. So I think that a lot of these guys, especially the 7, I think they make it just off of character, or if they don't make it off character, they're practice squad just to be in the locker room.
I mean, one thing that about those team captains, they've already been vetted by their teammates. Those are their teammates are voting them captain, and so whatever research you do, that all of their teammates, that's a guy that they have a lot of respect for.
Yeah, I'm not counting out Sanat because we need. I think for our D line, we just had to go with where we went. We won another DN and we won another D tackle, and we had to go there. I really think that's where we had to go. And we signed the guy from BYU as an undrafted free agent. They're big D tackle, so we're gonna have to have multiple one techs because we don't have a real one tech on this team. So that's why, and we really and truly are inside D line. We have D ends, and we have a lot of D ends that played D tackle last year, and that wasn't a good result. You can tell by our record. So I think a lot of the guys, like it's gonna, like he said, it's gonna be a tough rotation to project. I don't know who. I think Graham and Ogundesi make the roster. Really and truly, I think he makes it because we need him. Really and truly, I'm gonna be honest. I think we need him on this team, so I think that's why he makes it.
All right. Well, hey, I feel like I think he'll make it. I think he'll make it just by looking at his tape. I feel like he'll beat out somebody. I'm not going to tell y'all who because I don't like making predictions, but I will make the prediction that he will make the team. He looks like a Dean Pease type of player, and they're gonna pretty much bring somebody here who plays that to play in that role. So that's all I'm gonna say on that. But hey, I appreciate y'all coming on. One more time, can y'all let everybody know where they can find you guys?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can find me. I'm at GH Goodridge on Twitter. And you can also find me at Longhorn Pod. That's where I tweet about Texas sports. And then obviously Burn Orange Nation is where I do my writing.
Burn Orange Nation as well. Twitter, SBN_Westcott, WESCOTT. Appreciate it, guys. Thanks for having us on.
Hey, thank y'all for coming on. Yeah, thank y'all for coming on. We really appreciate it.
All right, go Birds.
Thank you. Hey, I got one more thing. Sorry about you guys' loss. I just saw that. Sorry about Ellinger. I heard about.
Oh yeah, Ellinger. Yeah, rest in peace.
Sorry about that.
That's up there on the 48.
Yeah, that's tough. I saw that and was like, bro, what?
Now, a lot of loss in that family. Sam and Jake lost their dad too about 8 years ago to a heart attack. So too much tragedy now for the Ellingers.
Yeah.
That is, man. That's rough. Man. Yeah. We'll be thinking about. What'd you say?
Hug your loved ones. Tell them you love them.
Yeah.
Yes. Absolutely.
You'll never know when it's gonna be your last day or somebody else's last day. That's why you cherish every moment with who you love. You never know if it be their last time you see them. Trust and believe. I don't take that for at all. So, but thank y'all for coming on. We really appreciate it.
Yeah,
thank you.
All right. If you're new to the channel, y'all already know what to do. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, share this content out with Atlanta Sports Fanatics, and hit us up in the comment section. As always, come holler at your hometown sports podcast. If you want it done with another episode of The Don's Favor, y'all have a great evening. King, I don't know if King doing the Frank Darby show right now.
I don't know if it started or not. So if it has, y'all go over there and go to chop it up with King.
No, he's not live right now. So we about to get off so he can do his Frank Darby show, and then there will be a King's Rim tonight after the Hawks game.
Yes, it will.
So y'all take it easy. Y'all have a great evening. See y'all later.